Today begins the Serene 15 challenge. This is message 486, and this message is dedicated to my 15-year-old Isabella Rose. 1% of your day is roughly 15 minutes. It's actually 14 minutes, 24 seconds, but we're going to round up. For 15 days, basically through the end of the month, I want you to join me in the Serene 15 challenge. The Serene 15 is 15 minutes of doing nothing. Just set your timer and sit. You spend 14 minutes, 24 seconds on 100 different things each day. Well, it may not be 100 different things. If you sleep 7 hours, then you're spending 29 of those on that. But what if you gave yourself one of those 100 to do nothing? This is an invitation to boredom. When was the last time you were bored? What would happen if you were alone with your thoughts for 15 minutes straight away? In 1654, scientist and philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote, quote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's and women's inability to sit quietly in a room alone," end quote. Well, in 2014, researchers at the University of Virginia were going to test that statement. They brought people into their lab and told them they were going to be asked to sit alone in an empty room for 10 to 20 minutes. They took everything away from them, cell phones, watches, iPods, whatever. Next, they showed the participants some random pictures. Finally, they pointed out a nearby button, which, when pressed, would give them an electric shock. The researchers had each participant press the button just for practice, and then asked them how unpleasant it was and whether they'd pay money to not be shocked again. The participants said the shock was unpleasant, and yes, they would pay money to avoid being shocked again. Well, the researchers then asked the test subjects to sit and entertain themselves with their own thoughts for 10 to 20 minutes. There were only two rules. They weren't allowed to get out of the chair, and they couldn't fall asleep. They encouraged the participants to enjoy themselves with pleasant thoughts. And, oh yes, if you'd like to receive an electric shock again, go ahead and press the button. Well, the research team had debated this aspect of the study. It was ridiculous, some thought, to think that people would choose to shock themselves. Needless to say, they were shocked by the results. They had already told us they didn't like the shock, the researchers were quoted. They'd already told us that they'd pay money to not receive the shock again. So we weren't really expecting that people would do this, but by the end of the study, they found that 70% of men and 25% of women chose to shock themselves during the 12 minutes instead of just sitting there and entertaining themselves with their thoughts. Isn't that fascinating? Well, we will not have a shock button for our challenge, fortunately or unfortunately, but are you up for the challenge? Can you spare 1% of your day for the next 15 days to sit alone and test Pascal's belief in humanity? The Serene 15 challenge. Let's go!